it's Nina and I'm back with another video. I just wanted to film and show you guys a new look, so here it is. And let's just get into this. So the first thing I used was Orb from the Morphe 3502 palette in my transition crease area, whatever you want to call it, and just blend it out. And then I moved on to using Chestnut. I really wanted a more burgundy-ish color, but I think this worked well, so yeah. And I'm just packing that into my outer V and then bringing it towards the inner corners, like just dragging it across and somehow blending it at the same time, if that makes any sense. Then I went back into Orb just to blend out those edges in my brow bone and like around that area. And now I moved on to the next color, which is Wiz, and it's a very matte black color, something that you don't find often. And I just packed that onto my lid just beyond my crease. Y'all know the drill. Whatever you do to one eye, you gotta do it to the next, unless you're going for a different look, which we're not. So yeah, just keep up with me. Then to blend out that black and not make it look so harsh, I was going to go into brunette, but I found that it was too dark, so I used the color right above it, and it's called Rich. It's more of a reddish type of brown, so it went well with the chestnut that we applied first, and then mixing that with the black. You can see what it's doing. It's like buffing it out and making it more like seamless, I guess you could say. I do have to say though, when you use this palette, don't use a lot because it gets really messy really quickly, and I don't know if you see that here, but it does. Then I went into Zam from the JackieainaXabh palette, and I ended up wetting my brush so that it would stick more, and I just placed that right on top of that black. However, I don't take it all the way to the crease. And I know you might be wondering why I used black for the base, but it just gives it a different effect. Although you can't like really see it through the glitter, it just really gives a nicer effect than if I had used like a milk jumbo pencil. It just wouldn't be the same. So it's definitely okay if this part gets a little messy. However, you don't want to bring it above that black line. You want to stay within your lines like a coloring book. Then to get rid of that structured line from the glitter, I'm going to blend it out with Rich yet again. And for some odd reason, I felt like I wasn't satisfied with the look, so I went back into Poreless and I just added that to the center of my eyelid. Don't know how much of a difference it made, but I was happy. So for my face, I did a little bit of experimenting. I'm putting the concealer first before I do the foundation. And the color I used was Toffee from LA Pro Conceal. And I'm just blending that out. And somewhere in there, I also put on Baby Skin Pore Instant Eraser because I had forgot to put it on before, but yeah. So I'm just blending that out with a brush. And I had a lot of product on the brush, so I just brought it down to like my lip area to cover those dark spots. Then I went on to using a sponge to push that product into my skin, but not so much to blend it out. I used my finger, however, to warm up the product and get rid of those harsh lines around the edges. Then I went into my Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the color 360, and I put I want to say I put like 3 layers of that this time, because I heard that if you put more layers that you would have a more flawless finish, but you have to blend out a lot more. So that's what I was doing here. You can see that I was blending for quite some time, but I wanted this to work. And now moving on to highlighting my face. So again, I'm using that toffee color because I forgot how much I really liked it and how well it goes with my skin. So I just decided to use that instead of fawn again, just to see what look I would get. So under my eyes, my nose, my forehead, my chin, you know the areas, girl, you know it already. Raise your hand if you could tell me the next step. Oh, you don't know it? Girl, you just gotta blend. Make sure it looks good. Make sure it's even. Make sure them edges is clean. Like, you know what to do. Use your finger if you have to. Get in those creases. And although this color is not as golden as fawn, like, I really like it. It just looks really good on my skin. Like, do you see that compared to my last few videos? I forgot to mention that I did put on my lashes and liner off camera, and that will be down below. And some of y'all might think that reverse contouring stuff is a little bit high or maybe too high on my face. But again, I'm just experimenting. I'm trying to find the right medium for me, like where my placement should be or whatever. I'm still going through the motions of figuring this stuff out. And the only way to do it is just to do it. So if you ever have that problem, just sit down, plan your makeup, set it up, you know, and just run through it. And then I moved on to setting my face using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Setting Powder in the color Honey. And I want to say that I used a bit more than I should have, but I didn't care at that point. Because you know how some people say less is more? Well, I was trying out a different theory this time. More is better. More is more. So, yeah. Not sure that makes sense to you, but it makes sense in my head. So, we're going to go with it. And I'm just using that to set the rest of my face, like very little amount for this part, even though I just said more. But yeah, I don't want my whole face to be white. And again, I'm still trying to figure out that placement, so I just put it down wherever, and I'm just figuring it out along the way. If it was okay, like if it was normal to walk around like this, I would, because I like how this looks. And now I'm using Coco Naughty for, I guess you could say, the bronzer. I didn't really go into contouring powder that much, only put a little bit, and you'll see that coming up soon. I used the Ruby Kisses palette, and I used the top 2 colors. I just mixed those together and put that right on top of that brown bronzer. And this is the part where I figured like maybe that reverse contouring was too high, because then I started blending it out with the bronzer. I'm not sure that I should have done that, but it didn't look bad, so I just went with it. And here's that Ruby Kisses palette that I was talking about. So I definitely did use this for my neck fat. I forgot to mention that before, but y'all should know this by now. Like, me and that part of my body have a love-hate relationship, and I love to make it go away. So that's what I'm doing. And I also used that to contour my nose, and I took that up to the, I guess you could say, my brow area in that corner, and I blended it out off camera after I noticed that it was just sitting there. Now after I let my under eye bake for quite some time, I'm just gonna buff that, not buff, but like swipe away that excess powder, and then I'm gonna go into buff my whole face just to get rid of any harsh lines. We don't need harsh lines on our face. And I know it looks a little ashy, or I guess dry, but the setting spray, like diminishes that whole powdery look. But overall, before the spray, I like how my face looks. Like, I've never had it look so flawless, I guess you could say. To you, it might seem flawless, but to me, it just looks good. And I sprayed a lot of that all-nighter setting spray all over my face. Yeah, I know I used a lot, but I told you, more is more in this video. I think I was feeling myself. And then I went in with that highlighter, Technic Get Gorgeous 24 karat gold, and I wet this back of the sponge and I just tapped that onto my skin. Super side note, my hands be hella ashy in these videos and y'all don't be saying nothing. And I use my finger to highlight the rest of my face, like those high points of my face. And then for my bottom lash line, I went into Rich and Chestnut. And then I also wanted a pop of color, which was Shookington from the JackieainaXabh palette, and I put that in my waterline. And then I brought you guys in a bit closer so you can see in the inner corner I'm using Trust Issues. I felt like it didn't do enough for me, so I also used Soleil, but I don't think I showed that part. So moving on to my lips, using this NK lip pencil in the color Dark Purple. I'm lining my lips. I'm sorry I was a bit out of frame, but yeah, I'm gonna line my lips with that. And I thought I wanted a matte lip, so I went in with Wet n Wild's Bare It All. And I placed that on my lip. And I don't know, I don't think I liked it as much as I thought I would. So of course I went over it with a brown pencil because I thought I don't know, it just wasn't blending together well. Like here it doesn't look bad, but I kept playing with it because I just wasn't happy with it. So I ended up putting on my e.l.f. gloss, and I don't know the name of this color or anything, and I'm sorry for that, but I just can't seem to find the name. But that's what it looks like, and it gives like this tingly feeling, which I really like, but on its own I'm not a fan of it. So this worked out really well. This combo, it looks good. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a completed look. I want to thank you all for watching. Come back for another video. Comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. And my lips are now bare because I recorded a lip swatch video. So go check that out. Bye, guys.